Hi, I'm Murphy. This is my channel, Murphy's Every Whim, where I talk about books. I love to talk about books, and you're the only one I can talk to about books, for the most part. On a day-to-day basis, you're the only one. YouTube, BookTube, you're it. So I want to talk about used bookstores in the area. A couple of weeks ago, I went to Iowa City to a bookstore there, a used bookstore called the Haunted Bookshop. It was a nice place. It was in an old two-story home, and Iowa City is a very historic city. It was the original capital of Iowa. This was a very nice older home and, close to what would be a downtown area. They were well set up on the inside with a lot of books, but enough space to move around. They still require masking, and they limit the number of people who can be there. And so I could only stay for an hour, and I only got an hour's worth of books. So we get to see what an hour's worth of books is for me. As I've said before, I tend to navigate bookstores in a certain way, but if it's a bookstore that's new to me and I actually don't know the layout yet, I might not run across things in the same order. But I did spend more time in the poetry, drama, nonfiction areas than I did in the fiction areas, and my haul shows that. So first I got Mary Oliver's A Poetry Handbook, and the subtitle is A Prose Guide to Understanding and Writing Poetry. I haven't looked through this yet, but I was just hoping it could give me some insight. Maybe it's got examples of poetry that would help me connect with some poetry I know, etc. So I'm curious to see what this will be like. I got two Mamet, David Mamet. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. I'm taking French, so you think I would figure out how to say a French name. But I got two screenplays by Mamet, and House of Games, and the Spanish, three actually. I forgot about the Winslow boy. The Spanish Prisoner and the Winslow boy. And I've actually seen all of these movies, and so these will just allow me to spend more time on the scripts. I don't know how many times I've seen House of Games. I've forgotten. It's been that many. I got three nonfiction books. This one sounds really interesting. Lola Leroy, or Shadows Uplifted, by Frances W. Harper. And I'm going to read the back of this. The daughter of a wealthy Mississippi planter, it's Iola, not Lola. Iola Leroy led a life of comfort and privilege, never guessing at her mixed race ancestry until her father died and a treacherous relative sold her into slavery. And so this book was written in 1892, but if Iola was sold into slavery, then she must have lived prior to 1864 or 5. So it's one of the earliest. It's actually a novel. I was thinking it was a biography, and that's why I'm talking about it in the nonfiction. But it's actually a novel. But it's one of the earliest writings by an enslaved person who was sold into slavery. But anyway, one of the earliest writings, novels by an enslaved person in the U.S. These really are nonfiction. The Splendid and the Vile by Erik Larson, and I've read a lot of Erik Larson's work, and I haven't read this one. I really like his writing, and I'm eager to get to this, even though it's a little beefy. Papal Sin by Garry Wills. The subtitle is Structures of Deceit, and the only blurb there is on this is, the truth we're told will make us free. It's time to free Catholics, lay as well as clerical, from the structures of deceit that are our subtle modern form of papal sin. Paler, subtler, less dramatic than the sins castigated by Orcagna or Dante. These are the quiet sins of intellectual behavior. And so this book actually covers multiple popes or papal eras, and talks about what was going on at the time. So, and I only got one novel. Well, okay, two novels, because Iola Leroy was a novel. Hystopia by David Means, and at the bitter end of the 1960s, after surviving multiple assassination attempts, President John F. Kennedy is entering his third term in office. The Vietnam War rages on, and the president has created a vast federal agency, the Psych Corps, dedicated to maintaining the nation's mental hygiene by any means necessary. So it's an alternate reality, and it, at least from the cover art and some of the things I read about it, it seems to hit the 60s pretty well, in that sort of psychedelic era. So that sounds interesting too. So I actually think this is a great little set of books that I've gotten. A little more about the bookstore, the Haunted Bookshop. It, I think, was a very well curated collection. There were paperbacks of the sort that I guess are called trade paperbacks, but I don't remember seeing any mass market paperbacks. So paperbacks like this, hardcover books, and the bookstore has the advantage of being in a university town. And so that was really apparent in the types of books that were in the nonfiction sections, the poetry sections. So books that had been used in the university for teaching, but also books probably collected by faculty who, you know, did a purge and had donated their books to this used bookstore or traded in their books. Some of these books I actually got, I think two of them, the Papal Sin and Iola Leroy, I actually got in their boxes that they have out in front of the house. They put out every day. And their way of purging books is to put the books on sale for 50 cents or $1, depending on whether they're paperback or hardcover. And so, or maybe books that they didn't want to have in their, on their bookshelves. And so that was kind of fun, looking through these 50-cent dollar offerings. And those were clearly books that were less popular. But a very nice bookshop. Plan ahead, because you have to wear a mask and you have to make an appointment for the hour that you will be there. They have fairly generous hours, though. I think 12 to 6 most days. And so it's a bookshop that I really think you should go to. The Haunted Bookshop in Iowa City. Again, I will put the link to their store in the description and the correct name of the store in the subtitles. So, short little book haul, short little video for me, and I will see you next time, I hope, and take care.